So you've decided Portugal could be for you. You've chosen the sun, you've chosen a beautiful lifestyle, ocean living, beautiful pools. Portugal could be that place. What are the steps to moving to Portugal and what should you take into consideration? I'm going to walk you through a couple of my tips here today. So the first thing, do your research and plan to come for a couple days to Portugal. As an American, you can come to Portugal, you don't need a visa, you can stay up to 90 days. That gives you all the time in the world to do your research, understand where you want to go, and understand a bit about the Portuguese culture and what it's like to be in Portugal. Do a bit of your research online, have a look at expat communities, watch my videos. I can tell you some of the cool places to be and the cool things to do. What you do need to know is what's the price of living, what's the price of healthcare, what's the price of groceries, schools, and especially where do you want to live? That's the most fundamental question. Portugal isn't a huge country, but it does offer options that are by the ocean, city living, Algarve, Porto, inland. Where do you want to be? Do your research a bit about the country, come spend some time, get lost in the country, book a beautiful hotel. There's some wonderful Airbnbs as well, and understand all of the ins and outs of the country. And especially, what does my budget allow for? And that will determine where you want to be, as well as the international schools and international airports. Do you have children? Do you have a family? And do you want to put them into the international school system? If you do, there are an array of international schools in the Lisbon area, nearby Cascais, in Lisbon, in the Algarve too, and in Porto. However, if you're looking at more rural properties, that won't be the case. You won't be able to find international schools. Of course, there are some very good Portuguese schools, but then your children will have to learn Portuguese. Do I need to speak Portuguese or learn to speak Portuguese before coming to Portugal? Well, not always the case. If you're going to more urban areas, such as Lisbon, for example, or the Algarve, a lot of people do speak English, and you'll find a huge expat community. That may not always be a good thing because you'll usually remain in your expat community. However, if you're looking for more of a rural lifestyle, farm life, not many people will speak English. So you may want to brush up on your Portuguese. You can do some online crash courses, or when you come to Portugal, it is actually quite cheap to find a good Portuguese teacher. If you're planning to stay longer than 90 days in Portugal, you're going to need a proper permit and resident visa to live in Portugal. That can be a residence visa, it can be a reunification visa, or it can be a work visa. As an American, there are some other new types of visas that you can apply for. You can apply for the D7 visa, you can apply for the tech visa, the digital nomad visa, a student visa, a work visa, and also a D2 visa. Moreover, if you're in Portugal for over 5 years and you can prove that you've been living here, you can then apply for Portuguese citizenship and become a Portuguese resident. You've done your research, you've decided Portugal's the place, you've moved here, you've just come here, what are you going to do? Most likely you're going to rent a property. I would always suggest finding a property that you can rent either on Airbnb or short term. This will allow you the flexibility to search if you want to buy a property or if in fact you want to go into a long-term lease. There are advantages in both. Renting a property, long-term leasing a property gives you the flexibility to keep on looking and not have to put down a big commitment. However, buying a property can sometimes end up being cheaper if you can get a good mortgage, because you're not going to be throwing money in the air, you'll be putting it down for a property that you truly own. And mortgages can be interesting here in Portugal and can be obtained by Americans too. Those first couple of weeks that you're in Portugal, you're also going to have to open a bank account, you're also going to have to get a fiscal number. I would advise getting in touch with a good relocation company or a lawyer that can help you out and do this for you. If you want more information, please do check all my videos about relocation, about taxes, mortgages, and even healthcare. You may be a digital nomad, you may be retired, you may be working abroad, but you may be interested in working in Portugal. Working in Portugal can be wonderful, and there are a lot of startups that have been booming everywhere, especially in the tech industry. With Web Summit that brings thousands of techies to Portugal, there are all of these startups that are booming everywhere, so there's opportunity for people to come here. You do have to be aware that salaries are relatively low in Portugal. Averages are around $1,200 and minimum wage is $750, so that could be a lot lower than in the United States. Important to take into consideration, you may want to look for an international firm that offers international wages. As an American, it's important to note that you will be paying taxes in the United States and you will be paying taxes in Portugal. You're going to have to file taxes every year by the IRS, and that's not going to change by being in Portugal. There is something very interesting called the NHR, the non-habitual residency program, allows you to pay a flat rate on certain of your income. I encourage you to check our video on the NHR and get all the information above, and also do check with your tax advisor what is applicable to you and what do you have to pay as taxes before moving to Portugal. As if you're moving into any country, international schools are very important. I would always suggest looking into various schools and to applying to a few of them because the spaces can be rare. And that's the same for Portuguese good schools as well. The healthcare system is excellent in Portugal, although the SNS is a free system and allows you to have free public healthcare. I would always advise getting private health insurance as well, which is a lot cheaper than the United States and very good quality as well. The legal age to drive in Portugal is 18 years old. If you have an American driver's license, you can transfer that to an international driving license. Once you arrive in Portugal, it's very simple to do. Driving rules are relatively simple, not very different. However, what you do need to know is that there's a lot of shift sticks, a lot less automatic cars, and there are heavy taxes on cars in Portugal. So if you're importing your car, you're going to have to pay a tax on that, especially if the car is new. Prices of cars are also relatively more expensive than other places in Europe and more expensive than the United States. Gas prices can be higher than the United States, so make sure that you're aware of that. The public transportation system is very good and relatively cheap. If we're looking at metros, trains, and buses in Portugal, all functions very well. And the highway system is also excellent and very well maintained in Portugal compared to a lot of other European countries. Yes, you do have internet in Portugal. Internet works very well with a wireless fiber system. TV does work as well. You can get all channels. Netflix, however, is going to be based on the Portuguese market. That doesn't mean it's in Portuguese. It just means it's going to be different than what you'd see in the United States. If you like to go to the movie theaters, most of the movies are in English, if not all of them. Just the cartoons are in Portuguese, but the rest of them are in English. The movie theaters, as well as the malls, also offer very large type of cinemas and very similar to what you'd find in the United States. If you're looking to shop in Portugal, you may not have as much choice as you would in the United States. However, you do have choice, and there are a lot of amazing European brands that are a lot cheaper than you'd find in the United States. If you're looking to import some of your products from the US through Amazon, for example, there are taxes on that, and sometimes they can get stuck in customs for a long time. So make sure that you're aware about that and buy as much as you can locally, because let's face it, you can have some amazing things here. The food is wonderful, local fresh foods, the restaurants are great, and you'll find that the cost of living is so much cheaper in the United States, and you know what? It's healthier too. I think you're going to love Portugal. If you do like this video, please don't forget to subscribe. It does help me make more videos. And if you want more information, check out the rest of our videos, check out our tips. And of course, if you're moving to Portugal, we can help you find your beautiful home at bontfilipides.com.